Welcome to the local, national, and EU-level efforts to prevent child trafficking podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the SafeBorders project. The SafeBorders project, funded by the EU's Internal Security Fund, aims to combat child trafficking by strengthening the skills of judicial authorities and frontline workers. It focuses on improving expertise through knowledge exchange, best practice in identification, and capacity building activities. The project will also introduce an AI platform to enhance cross-border cooperation among judicial authorities. This podcast, Local, National, and EU-level efforts to prevent child trafficking, brings together experts working across all levels of the anti-trafficking response. Sir Eric Garbar, Judicial Police Commissioner and current head of the Human Trafficking Expertise Centre of the Federal Judicial Police in Belgium, brings the national and European-level coordination perspective. With over 31 years of police experience, almost 20 of them in human trafficking at both local and federal levels, he plays a central role in coordinating criminal intelligence flows and European police cooperation. In 2026, he will co-lead Impact THB and oversee 2 European action plans targeting human trafficking networks. Madame Emily Verschuere represents the local frontline level. As the Chief Inspector at the Ghent Police in the Criminal Investigation Department, she is part of the MIPROCH team, working directly on cases involving human trafficking, prostitution, and sham marriage. MIPROCH is a Dutch abbreviation for these criminal offenses. And finally, Madame Stavroula Spiropoulou brings a specialized child protection and NGO perspective. She is a psychologist with frontline and supervisory experience at The Smile of the Child, a leading child protection NGO in Greece. She currently supervises 5 helplines at national and European level. She is also the coordinator of the Greek National Centre for Abuse and Exploitation. I'm Friederike Sabatier, consultant and researcher at IPS Innovative Prison Systems, a SafeBorders project partner, and I'll be your moderator for this episode. Welcome, Sir Garbar, Madame Verschuere, and Madame Spiropoulou. Thank you for accepting our invitation. It's really a pleasure to have you with us today for the podcast. So, starting with our first question, could you describe one prevention practice or outreach activity your team runs locally that identifies or reduces children's vulnerability to trafficking and why it works?
Thank you very much for your invitation. So your first question, recently, 2 years ago, in partnership with other different actors in the fight against human trafficking, including ECPAT, Belgium, we have developed a prevention campaign under the forms of flyers distributed to the hotel staff in the Brussels regions. The aim was to sensibilize a maximum of people working in this environment and help them to detect and to be sensibilized on the problematics of sexual exploitation from adults, of course, but also from minors. The leaflets we published explain what human trafficking for sexual exploitation or exploitation of prostitution is, what warning signs to look out for, and how hotel staff should respond if they notice a suspicious situation. An information session was also organized so that we could explain in more detail and answer the questions eventually asked through the member staff of these different hotels. It is difficult for us to assess how effective a prevention campaign of this type is. We do not have any statistics on the number of cases reported to the police through this channel. It's a bit like the dark figure of criminality. It is always difficult, if not impossible, to define this figure with precise elements. We can just only hope that raising awareness among people who may come into contact with individuals at risk of exploitation or trafficking will enable them to detect such cases and report them to the police. What we can say for certain is that the phenomenon of sexual exploitation of minors in prostitution is worrying now in Belgium, but also all over the EU. In this regard, one of the main prevention measures we are taking, both at national and international level, European level, to be more precise, is to raise awareness among as many police officers and magistrates as possible about the reality of this phenomenon, to sensibilize them to the characteristics and the evolution of the phenomenon.
Thank you very much. Regarding the same question, Madame Verschuere, what is your opinion?
Well, it's really global in our police district, but it's called the Combi project. Combi is the name of police vehicle here in Belgium, and it's also the abbreviation of the verb to combine, so everything together. So what is the project? It's throughout the year we organize activities, mostly sports activities, with police inspectors and with the youngsters, with youth people, so that there will be a low-key communication, that there is a bond between them, that they can talk to each other, that they get to know the person behind the uniform, and that we, as uniform personnel, can get to know the individual behind the youngster.
Thank you very much. Finally, Madame Spiropoulou, could you tell us your take on this first question?
I'm very happy that you bring the topic of prevention as the first issue that we should discuss today, because especially when we're talking about trafficking in children, prevention is very challenging because of the growing complexity of the issue. So from the perspective of the Smile of the Child, it's an NGO in Greece, which is Greece's national operator of hotlines for child abuse, exploitation, and also missing children. We would like to bring a special element to be addressed, and that is the link between missing children and all the forms of child exploitation. Therefore, taking this element into consideration, it is crucial that the powerful, I would say, tool of hotlines is fully utilized in the fight against child trafficking, because hotlines can serve in a prevention way as info desks for this population, crisis management, and also intervention tools accessible 24/7. For example, and I would like to bring different aspects of how prevention can be implemented in response, for example, to the refugee crisis in Greece. The European Hotline for Missing Children 116,000 operated as an info desk for trafficking. So also the Smile of the Child has created multilingual flyers in different languages like Greek, English, French, Arabic, and Farsi, which were distributed among refugees in order to raise awareness about the risks children face and inform families about the availability of the hotlines for reporting cases of missing or exploitation. At the same point, the Smile of the Child developed intensive prevention and awareness programs targeting schools, students, teachers, and parents, which programs were implemented by specialized psychologists of the organization, who go to the schools and inform children, teachers, and parents in an interactive way about what trafficking is, all its forms, including lesser known but equally important aspects. And they teach children and adults how to react in dangerous situations, where to turn for help, and turning them, we would say, into multipliers of the knowledge into their communities. Finally, to highlight the importance of prevention programs into targeted and in-risk population, I would like to mention, because Greece is a refugee inceptor, we would say, as well as a tourist destination. So in a collaboration with ECPAT International, the Smile of the Child is also focusing on strengthening child protections frameworks in Greece by implementing the code. It's a tool designed for hotels specifically to develop child protection policies, and one part was to inform professionals working in hotels, for example, hotel staff, about child protection. And this kind of training included understanding of how to safely manage the situation, because professionals in hotels may receive information about children that might be in risk for trafficking.
Thank you very much. Continuing with our second question, how does your local work connect to national level systems or referral pathways when you identify a risk, and what stops that linkage from working smoothly? Sir Garbar, could you explain what is your experience?
As a national center of expertise within the Belgian Federal Judicial Police, we have an extensive network of partners at both national and international level, mainly in Europe, but not exclusively. What we do is when we detect a new risk, a new modus operandi, or a new development in a subphenomenon, we share our information with all the concerned partners. This is a genuine process of knowledge sharing in order to produce what we call useful criminal intelligence to guide the action on the field. The circulation, analysis, and enrichments of information are essential factors in understanding the phenomena and directing the policies, the resources, and the means of the various services concerned towards the most specific issue possible. What generally hinders these information flows are individuals outside our enforcement agencies who hold crucial information and sometimes refuse to share it on the pretext of professional secrecy.
Thank you very much for this answer. Regarding the same question, could you tell us about your experience, Madame Verschuere?
Yes, so for example, in the Combi project, the police inspectors are in the project. So they identify the risk itself. So maybe they can resolve it themselves, or they can ask colleagues to do it for them because they don't want to disturb the bond that they're building up with the youngsters. So identify the risk, that's one-on-one, and they are really into it because there are boots on the ground and police inspectors are with the youngsters in the activity. And then the second part is the connection to the national level systems. Yeah, we have a lot of systems, a lot of databases that we are using. Bureaucracy, it's sometimes slow, heavy, and cumbersome. But in recent years, a lot of all the databases are automated. So the authorities and the persons that need to be informed are informed that way. So everything is going a little bit faster.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Finally, Madame Spiropoulou, we would be curious to know your experience from the Greek context.
Yeah, at a national level, the organization cooperates in a consistent basis with the Office of the National Rapporteur on combating trafficking in human beings, the Hellenic Police, and prosecutor authorities, also with the relevant competent actors, civil society and organization in the field of prevention and intervening in trafficking. The Smell of a Child also contributed significantly to the creation of the National Victim Referral Mechanism, established in 2019, and now is coordinated by the National Center for Social Solidarity. So the National Rapporteur on Trafficking in Human Beings operates under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and serves as the official contact point to facilitate protection, tracing cases, and after the repatriation procedures, for example. If we had to highlight some challenges in this procedure, that would be limited resources, lack of clarity between the different sectors. For example, many organizations that support the same victim may refer to the National Rapporteur multiple times about the same case. And the most important and challenging for us is that frequently the victims do not consent to be involved in procedures, for example, that involve cooperation with authorities. We may have indications about a victim of trafficking, but we have to cooperate with them and give the full image about the victim with their consent. So the lack of trust is a very challenging issue here in Greece, and this could, in some cases, slow down the referral processes.
Thank you very much. Now, moving on to our third question. Have you had to coordinate with services across borders or use EU-level mechanism for prevention or protection, and what practical steps made that coordination faster or more reliable? What is your take, Sir Garbar?
Well, for that, the answer is very easy to state. So we are the national point of contact for coordinating intelligence and investigations in Belgium, in this capacity in Belgium and also at European level. So we are the contact point for on national level for all the other partners all across the EU, but also outside the EU. In this capacity, we work closely with the different European agencies, such as Europol, Eurojust, and Frontex. These are three very important partners. Without, we can't consider efficiently the international cooperation and the cross-border coordination. There is a legal framework, there is procedures and structures which have been created to promote cross-border cooperation and sometimes even beyond European borders. So at the beginning of the creation of these different agencies, the aim was to coordinate the actions within the EU. But since the last trends identify the last years, there is more and more strategic and operational cooperation developed by Europol with some third-party countries all across the world. And it's very important because the most important trends we identified these last years is internationalizations of the criminal organizations. So it's important to combat this on effective and efficient international cooperation. It's absolutely necessary to implement and to develop day after day. This is what we are doing at Oliver in my unit. It's to feed the international cooperations in terms of information sharing and also coordination of the different investigations.
Thank you very much. Madame Verschuere, could you tell us about your experience in regard to the Belgian context?
Yes, certainly. Because we in the investigation service, we have on-call shifts, so 24/7. So at some point, you have to resolve everything that happens on that day. For example, a child abduction, when that happens, you have to inform everybody who needs to be informed so that we can protect the child. We have partners like Europol, Interpol, embassies, the airport service, customs, liaison officers that help you build a net around the child so that we can find it. So the child and the persons who are involved in the crime are flagged.
Thank you very much. Madame Spiropoulou, what is your take on this?
Greece has established protocols for transnational or cross-border cooperation regarding child victims of trafficking, including formal judicial cooperation mechanism, EU coordination channels such as Sirene Bureau, Europol, etc., and direct liaison with national authorities, as I have described before, with the Hellenic Police and the rapporteur, and of course the Public Prosecutor's Office. So on an international level and in the context of global anti-trafficking effort, the Smile of the Child actively participates in a number of relevant networks and is associated or participates in relevant international fora in the global anti-trafficking effort. And if I could give an example of how all these procedures are implemented in practice, I think that the best case that I could describe from the hotlines, of course, is the field of missing cases. In these cases, we see cross-border cooperation being implemented step by step. I could bring into the conversation a specific case, for example, of a 15-year-old girl that has gone missing in Greece several years ago. And what was special about this case was that from the first point, we had indications that this child may be at risk of trafficking and that she may try to travel abroad. So when we received the first information that this child has gone missing, the first thing that we had to do is to collaborate with the national authorities here in Greece. We were in touch with the Greek police, and then the next step was to activate an alert for this child, a missing alert. With this alert, we informed all the TV channels, for example, the sites, and also border checkpoints, airports, other means of transportation in order to prevent the minor from leaving Greece. The second step was to inform immediately the Sirene Bureau of the Hellenic Police. So international police cooperation was activated. And after we publicized the alert, we started receiving information about the child. And this information indicated that the child may have traveled to Switzerland and Italy. So what we did is to activate the cross-border notification procedures by leveraging our membership with Missing Children Europe. So we informed our partners in Italy and Switzerland about the case. So the alert was publicized cross-border as well. And also we utilized CMC Engine platform from ICMEC. It's a tool powered by AI, which uses facial recognition and technology to search general and dark web for any images of missing child, which provided critical leads about the case. So this multi-agency and cross-border collaboration ensured that the authorities in Switzerland and Italy were informed. And after persistent efforts, the minor was actually located in Switzerland. And then we started procedures about ensuring the child's safe return in Greece.
Wow, thank you very much. And now moving to our last question. What is one low-cost change or community action that you would recommend for other frontline teams to reduce trafficking risk in their area? Regarding the fourth and last question, Sir Garbar, what do you think?
At the police level, I see two courses of action. The first, and I think it's also a very important factors of success if we want to struggle on effective manners. Again, globally, THB, but also minors exploitation in sexual exploitation in prostitution, for example. This is the proactive internet search. As human trafficking, and even more so the trafficking of minors, is now made possible by the use of digital technologies by organized criminal groups. There is nothing to prevent members of, for example, an NGO from browsing the internet, and when they discover a suspicious publication reporting into the police, this is appealing to people's sense of civic duty. So I think it's important, of course, police must develop their own strategy to let proactive search on the internet, but considering that internet is an open space, it's possible for some citizens or members of such an NGO, when they detect some suspicious cases on the net, to communicate it to the authorities in the local area. So these authorities, mainly law enforcement, can take to a minimum to verify the situation, the suspect situation. The second measures we can preconize is training for non-specialized police officers who may, in the course of their duties, their usual duties, be suspicious situation. And it's very important to sensibilize police officers who are not specialized in sexual exploitation, in trafficking human beings, to be a minimum aware on what's happened on the field and what are the different indicators who can draw their attention on a specific situation, and to ask them the good question and to have the good reaction to verify or to take efficient measures to provide the help, to invest a minimum in these trainings. And similarly, specialized police officers can contribute to training courses aimed to other target audiences. So, for example, I have the occasion sometimes to contribute to some trainings organized by other organizations outside the police to sensibilize their collaborators to the reality of human trafficking. And it's important for them to receive a short explanation coming from the police.
Thank you very much. Regarding this last question, Madame Verschuere, what is your opinion?
I was a little bit low cost is something that everybody wants to do, but in times of this, everything costs money. So personnel, resources. But I think the Combi project is really low key and low cost because you need the personnel and sometimes for the activity, a ball or something like that and a building to do the activity in. But you really have to connect with the community. You need the information from them because a lot of eyes see a lot of information and the information has to come to the police so that we can resolve it. So I think the Combi project is really a good example of a low-cost change that really works.
Thank you very much. Finally, Madame Spiropoulou, can you tell us your experience in regard to this last question?
Yeah, actually, I brought this question to the internal group that we have in the organization for trafficking, and all the members concluded in the same answer, which is training and awareness, which is a low-cost but highly effective action we would recommend, is the establishment of short-format trainings on trafficking for frontline professionals delivered at community level. So this could include police officers, social workers, teachers, local health providers, even hotel staff, volunteers, and of course prosecutors. So these trainings do not have to require like complex structures or large budget. They require continuity and clarity, simple tools, shared indicators, and a common understanding of what trafficking looks like in practice, in the field, and not theoretically. So as we know from the number of potential trafficking victims compared to the low percentage of prosecutions, traffickers often remain unpunished. So by educating the people who are responsible for detection, investigation, and prosecution is essential. And frontline professionals must understand not only how to identify trafficking, but also how to support victims, especially minors. Because without this knowledge, early signs are missed, cases may collapse, and victims are re-victimized.
Sir Garbar, Madame Verschuere, and Madame Spiropoulou, thank you very much for your participation and thank you for your time. It was really an honor to have you on our podcast today. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope you found today's discussion insightful. On behalf of the SafeBorders Consortium, we truly appreciate your commitment to this important issue and to protecting children from trafficking.